Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Excellent. Doing great. Um, all right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, pick up where we left off yesterday, our last class. We are going to do a personality assessment. It's one of my favorites. It's called the four colors. Okay. So you're going to take this little assessment. Don't do anything yet. Once I pass it all out, I will explain it to everybody. Will you give one more to Jake for me, please? Joseph, Andrew, and Andrew. All right.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, how's it going, Dean Roscoe? I was like, wait a minute. There's no name tag there. You want to do this? Okay, you did? Okay, cool. All right. So we are going to do you need to speak to the class or are you just observing? Okay, awesome. Sounds good. We are going to do a personality assessment, and then we're going to talk about all the different colors, the four different colors, and how they relate to each other. So to complete this assessment, you're going to go one row at a time. Okay. And when you're completing this, you're going to look at the four, like the A, B, C, D. Okay. Just the one row. You're going to look at the words. Don't read too much into it. Just kind of think about it. Think about which grouping of words do you resonate the most with. Okay. And that's the grouping you're going to put a number 4. And then find the ones that you resonate the least amount with. And that's going to be your number 1. Okay. And then go back in and fill in 2 and 3. Okay. So do 4 and 1 first, because those are the easiest ones to get out of the way. And then do 2 and 3. Okay. And so you're going to do that for each row, each of the 5 rows, 1 through 4 on each of the 5 rows. Okay. So go ahead and take a few moments. When you are done, just give me a thumbs up so I know that you are finished. And then don't start adding anything. I'll talk about that as a group. Okay, I'll walk you through it. All right, so now after you have done the rows 1 through 5, 1 through 4, numbering those groups of words 1 through 4, you're going to take the number that you put in each of the specific boxes and add them up to get your total color score. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see with the text being so small. So I wrote it up here on the screen. What I recommend you do is you write it AHKNS underneath the orange box, and then write the number that you wrote in that box. That way you can write a traditional math problem plus and then equal it all up. That way you're not trying to remember from line to line what number you're at. Okay. So AHKNS, whatever number you wrote in the A box, you write that number next to it. The H, the same thing. Okay. And so forth. I wrote all the letters underneath the corresponding color boxes. And then once you have all those numbers kind of filled out, go ahead and add them up and get your total color score for orange, green, blue, and gold. All right, just a couple of things before we get started with this explanation. I did update my office hours in Canvas. So in this important links module, the very top module, this is the time of the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that I am in my office waiting for y'all to come talk to me. Okay. These are the Zoom links for those times. So if you're not on campus and you want to jump on Zoom, these are those times that I will be there. Okay. Um, And then also, if you missed the first day of class, I don't think anybody did. I think everyone was here, but this is the recording for that. Okay. In the orientation module, sorry, the week 1 module, the true colors explained, slides 14 through 28, that is what I'm going to be going over right here. Okay, so if you want to access this later, I will also place, I don't think I put, yep, I did, the personality color, this document, that is this document right here. Okay, so if you want to do this at home with your friends or family and kind of see what your personalities say about each other, what color you are, that would be interesting. Okay, so the number that you have the highest number, the color that you have the highest number, that is going to be your kind of primary or dominant personality trait. Okay, the interesting thing I think about that this assessment demonstrates is that we have aspects of all the 4 different types of personality traits. It's just maybe one is a little bit more dominant, one's a little bit more weaker, okay? And then the other one's in between. So that first color, the highest number you have is pretty bright as far as the personality traits, okay? How many of you, by a show of hands, look at your first color and your second color? How many of you are within 3 digits, like 3 numbers, so 1, 2, or 3 points away from your first and second color? Anybody 3 points or less difference? Okay, so then everybody else is 4 points or more. Okay, cool. I'm 3 points away from my first and second color. That means those personalities are pretty close as far as the different categories and characteristics. Okay, so third and fourth color again. Thinking about the fourth number, the lowest number is the least dominant, but you still have those. Why do you think this is management leadership? Why do you think it is important for you to understand your personality color as think about yourself as a future manager or leader?
You need to understand your personality colors so that you're able to
Okay, good.
so that personality.
Okay, good. Yes.
See how well you mesh together.
Yeah, see how well you mesh with other people. Absolutely. There's a podcast that I listen to. It's called The Working Genius. Did I tell you all about that? Or was my other class? My other class. So The Working Genius is very similar to this type of a thing. It's a 6-point assessment. And so you have 2 working geniuses, and they're the things that you love to do most. It's the things that you thrive in when you go to work and you thrive in doing those things. And then you also have the things that you don't really feel comfortable doing, right? And the more time you can spend in your genius, the more time you enjoy being at work. The more time you spend outside of your genius, the more you dread going to work. And so it's the same thing, kind of understanding what not only our personality is, but the personality and the traits of the people that we're working with is really important. So let's look at these colors, okay? Blues. If you're a blue, predominantly blue, go ahead and stand up. If you're predominantly a blue. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. I'm going to take notes of how many we have because I don't know why. I just think it'd be interesting to see if there's a trend in the data. All right. So 13 blues. Blues, you guys are the nurturers. You're the ones that want to take care of people. Okay. So it makes sense that you're in hospitality because that's what hospitality is all about, is wanting to take care of people. You're the ones who wants to bring the team together. You're the ones that want to make sure that everybody is getting along. Everybody is enjoying their time. Okay. Some really famous blues include Mozart, the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. Just a heads up, there's a Wizard of Oz character for each one. I don't know how they tested the Tin Man, but Thomas Jefferson, Cinderella, Gandhi, Muhammad Ali, and Jimmy Carter are some famous blues. Why do you think blue, or how do you think being a nurturer can help you be a more effective manager or leader?
I think it helps you to identify the other personalities, traits of
Okay, cool. You want to elevate your team. Yes. Okay, good. Find different ways to connect with your team. Good. Any other comments about blues? Let's give our blues a round of applause. All right, let's look at the greens. Greens are the visionaries. Okay. So they're the ones that are looking to the future. The greens, where are my greens? Stand up if you're a green. Okay. One, two. Like green is your predominant color. It's the highest number. 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay, cool. Awesome. So y'all feel free to have a seat. Y'all are the ones who are looking towards the future. Okay. Oftentimes, greens take more time to stop and think about things. Um, Sometimes we'll talk about how greens interact with other colors or other colors interact with greens. But sometimes greens frustrate other people because they take too long. It's like, I want to make a decision right now. Okay. Um, so the greens, they're the more visionary people. So that's going to be Socrates, Sherlock Holmes, Benjamin Franklin, the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz, and others that are listed here. So let's look at golds. Go ahead and stand up if you are a gold, predominantly gold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let's get. Oh, what's up? Let's give our greens a round of applause. We forgot the green. Sorry. All right, golds. Y'all are the ones who like things that have always stayed the same, right? You honor tradition. You like it. Things to be consistent. Okay. You are also the people who are focused more on work rather than play. Okay. And so oftentimes the golds are the ones who are looking back at the way that things were done or kind of reminiscing on the traditions of the past and trying to keep those traditions alive. So you are the traditional gold. Famous golds: Mother Teresa, Santa Claus. Again, I don't know where they get this data from, but Henry Ford, Florence Nightingale, Dorothy was the gold, right? She was the one that kind of kept everybody together as far as the group from Wizard of Oz. All right, let's give our gold a round of applause. All right, let's take a look at our oranges. Who in here is an orange? Nice. Emilio, you and I are right there together. Only one orange in this class. Wow. We're the fun people. The oranges, we're the ones who like change. We like to kind of disrupt things a little bit. We're the ones who kind of question the way things have always been done. When I worked at Rio Cibolo Ranch, oftentimes you'll find in your career, you'll hear a phrase: you either have to move up or move on. Okay. And I got to Rio Cibolo Ranch and I was there for 4 years and I moved up to as far as I could go. And then I was trying to give some recommendations, but because it was a family owned business, they always said, I've always done it this way. We're not going to change. That didn't sit very well with this orange. I had to get out of there, right? And so I ended up moving and kind of doing more corporate event planning. But we're the ones who try to change things up. We thrive in things not being the same. That's why I love working in select service hotels, because in a select service hotel, you're the front desk agent, but you're also the concierge. You also might be the house person. You also might be the person that is going to be setting up breakfast. So we kind of change that kind of stuff. So oranges definitely like to perform under pressure. So famous oranges: JFK, Amelia Earhart, Lucille Ball, Winston Churchill, and then the lion from The Wizard of Oz. Okay, so a lot of oranges. We are the ones who kind of shake things up. Now, kind of jumping real quick before we jump into how these characteristics and work, these colors work. That Working Genius, which is a podcast that I highly recommend that you listen to. The Working Genius, when I finally bit the bullet and took the test, I think it was like $25. When I finally bit the bullet and took the test, I came out and I found out that I am a galvanizing enablement are my two working geniuses. So galvanizing meaning trying to get everybody together, let's move things forward. Enablement is supporting people to help them be what they need to be. Okay. I'm not so much on the invention side or the wonderers, right? They're wondering, how can we do this? The inventions coming up with new ideas. Those are the people who somewhat annoy me because I'm like, I want to get done. Like, we have to stop brainstorming at some point and we got to start doing something. Okay. So, general population, greens and blues, golds and oranges are the most in this class. Blue is our highest, green is the next. So this class kind of goes opposite of what the general population shows. So let's take a look real quick at each color. Okay. What you're esteemed for, what maybe you're stressed by on the job, different needs that you have. Okay. So solid. Oh, wait, hold on. We didn't give the oranges a round of applause. All right. So take a look at this. Find your color at the top. Okay. And look and see and give me a thumbs up if this is pretty accurate, you think. Thumbs sideways for partially, or thumbs down for not at all accurate. Cool. Excellent. I like it. So, as a leader, why do you think it's important to know this information? Joseph, what do you think? Okay. Absolutely. What color are you? You're green. Okay. Awesome. So greens, are you stressed by feeling inadequate based on this that screen up here? No, not really. Okay. Are you actually hold on. My thought process is on another slide. So I'm gonna come back to that, okay? Why do you think it's important to know that our oranges, if you're a green, Joseph, and you have coworkers that are oranges, why do you think for you, if you want insights and knowledge to make that decision, why do you think it's important for if you have a coworker who's an orange to better understand why they want freedom? Why do you think that's important? Or maybe not so much that they want freedom, but that they want something different from you. So why do you think it's important to know that they want something different? Or they're looking for something different other than what you focus on? Yeah, absolutely. There are some ways, there are some things that have to be done in a specific way. But I remember one time when I was the cook up in Maine, and I had an assistant cook for dinner. She would basically make the salad bar, and I would tell her just set up the salad bar. And she was like, "Well, how do you want the tomatoes cut?" I don't care as long as there are tomatoes for a salad. I mean, obviously, you're not going to make slices because that would be weird to have slices of tomatoes on a salad. I was like, but I don't. It's like, how do you want the cucumbers cut? I don't know. I don't. I'm focused on making dessert in the entree, and I just want you to set up the salad, right? Because I, as an orange, want that freedom to just do and how I need to do it, right? And so it doesn't matter. I don't need direction. because you tell me to set up a salad, I'm going to set up a salad. Now, if you want it set up in a specific way, you need to tell me to set up that specific way, because otherwise I'm going to just do it my own way. Okay. So it's important that we understand that, so that as we're working with our teams, maybe we can assign specific projects to certain people that have those strengths. So this is also really interesting in how other people see you, how other people might see you based on how you do, how you act, right? Some people might think I'm really indecisive or really irresponsible. Some people may see me that I'm not able to stay on task. But the fact is that I have about a 20-minute time, 20-minute focus. I'm working on that. And then if a student comes in and asks me a question, I can shift and do that. And then I'm going to come right back to this. Right. So I may have 4 or 5 tasks going on, whereas I've worked with people on other board of directors and it frustrated me because they're like, I'm going to work on this one task and I'm going to add yours to the bottom of my to-do list. And I'm like, yeah, but that task will take you 2.5 minutes. So why don't you just do it? And so we all have different types of personalities. So this is how other people might see you. Okay. And so that helps you understand that maybe I need to change something a little bit, right? I'm not going to change me drastically, but if somebody sees me as obnoxious, I'm going to try to figure out why they think I'm obnoxious and maybe tone things down a little bit. Okay. If you think somebody is, let's see, I live in the orange world, but I'm also a blue. I'm only 3 points away from being a blue. Okay. If people see you as, what does it mean to have a bleeding heart? What does that mean? You care for people. And sometimes people might take advantage of that, right? And so you may have to realize, okay, this is how people perceive me, and this isn't really how I want to be perceived. So maybe what can I do to help give off a different image? Okay. Um, Here we go. Ready? This is how golds will frustrate. Where are my golds at? Raise your hand for golds. Okay. So golds, you can frustrate other people, but things that you are frustrated by. If somebody's being irresponsible, you're like, oh, why are you being so irresponsible? And it frustrates you. Or perceived lack of discipline or laziness. Blues frustrate other people, and they're also frustrated by that middle column. Right? Blues are nurturing. They want that authenticity, but if you start lying to them, then they really don't particularly care for that. They also want that communication. Let's look at greens. Greens sometimes frustrate people by not being sociable. Okay, more of like an introvert type scenario if you're thinking about Myers-Briggs. Um, I love networking. So I can imagine why anybody else wouldn't like networking. But there are people that are that would prefer, are much more comfortable just staying to themselves. Okay. They also don't like that small talk. They don't care how the weather is today. They just want to know the details, the information, and kind of how they can start planning that big picture environment, right? And so it's really important to understand kind of maybe how your personality color might frustrate others and what frustrates you. All right. So Emilio, this is you and I. Oranges, we're frustrated by rules. I want the freedom to just do things my way, or hey, I see a way that this could be improved. Why can't we do it this way? Oh no, you got to do it this way. Right? And so the same routine, we don't really particularly care for that. Um, and so, yeah. Any questions, comments, or concerns? So now let's look at the compatibility. So green and orange, where are my greens? And orange, we complement each other. Okay, gold and blue, you also complement each other. Orange and golds conflict. Remember, gold is that traditional, and orange is the one who wants to blow it all up and do something different. Okay. Greens and blues. Your blues, you're that empathetic person. Green is the visionary. Y'all just do not quite get along together. All right. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, one being like, oh my gosh, this described me exactly, to 5 did not describe me at all. 1 through 5, how would you rate the results of this personality test assessment? Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see some ones, I see some threes, I see some fours. Okay, cool, cool. All right. If you want, I know we kind of went through it really relatively quickly, but this slideshow presentation is on Canvas. If you want to go through it a little bit more in a little bit more detail and understand that, it's really really important as you start looking at supervising other people and being a part of a team, how you and all your team members kind of fit in together, and especially as a leader it's really important because you can make sure that you are maximizing the energy and the effort from your team. So if you have someone who is let's say an orange, and you task them with, okay, I want you to visualize what our company is going to be like in the next 5 to 10 years. That seems like a very insurmountable task for someone who has an orange personality because I don't know what I'm doing next week. I can't imagine thinking about 5 or 10 years from now, right? But somebody who's a green and likes to kind of wonder and sit and think about that and think overall, that would be a great project for somebody or to get people involved. So, as you're assigning tasks and things like that, it's really important to understand what those are. Now, I will tell you that your results can change. Okay. So, this just because this is what you are today does not necessarily mean that this is how it's going to be forever. Okay. I used to be predominantly orange, and then the other ones were pretty evenly split. And now I'm predominantly orange, 18 orange, and only 15 blues. And then my golds and yellow, gold and blue, or gold and green are 9 and 8. So they're pretty close as well, but on the lower end. So that can change because as you gain more experience, as you get higher into higher leadership positions, as you maybe gain more training, just life experience in general, your perception and your personality might change a little bit. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So, online face-to-face, it's more powerful than like this, right? I don't think that I see where some instructors can understand the students.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that instructors that traditionally teach in a face-to-face format seem to be more rigid. Um,
But not you, because you the hospital.
okay. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, online training. I mean, I've gone through multiple over the last 10 years that I've been teaching. I've gone through multiple trainings, and also certifications to have a better idea of how to teach online. So I think that also plays a huge role in it. And then I approach my face-to-face classes like I do my online classes. a lot of the assignments, a lot of the stuff is still pretty much the same. All right, so that is all I have for today. Okay, just a couple of things. The I have updated your course calendar. I will get it published on Canvas. Okay, so that way you'll have an idea of when we are here, when we're not here. If it says independent study, that means we are not meeting in class. You're studying independently. Okay. Um, and then the other thing I want to mention for the Sala bed making competition, which is on September the 11th. Okay. From usually about 9 to 11 is a lot of setup time. Just setting up for the event. People will start arriving at about 11. So during our class time from 9:15 to 10:30, we're primarily going to be setting up for the event. Okay. The main event really is from about 11:30 until 3 o'clock. Okay. So there's only Antonio is the only person. Anybody else? Right? Antonio is the only person that's going to be in my 1313 class, um, which they're going to come in at 10:45. So, is there anybody in here that might think they might be willing to stay during the competition time from about 11 to 1 during that time frame? Anybody? No, September the 11th. Yes. It's a Thursday. No, it's going to be over by the zoo. Yeah, it's at the convocation center by the zoo. It's the 11th. Yep. Okay, cool. Just so I have an idea of how many volunteers I'm going to have during that 11 to 1 o'clock time frame. And then might have a 2 o'clock class that's going to come in and knock out the last hour of it. Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. So as we're there, after the event is set up, once check-in happens, we'll be helping with either depending on what lunch they get, we might be helping serve lunch. So people come up and we want to verify they have a wristband or whatever the identification is. We want to make sure they have that before we give them their lunch. We also, once the competition begins, usually at about 11:30, 12 o'clock, when the competition actually begins, essentially what's going to happen is there's going to be 8 beds on the floor, okay? 8 hotel beds on the competition floor, I'll say. And then as the housekeeper makes the bed, they're timed, and then there's a judge that judges the neatness of it. And then once the judge gives the go ahead that they've already judged the entire bed, then we'll work together as groups to basically take the bed apart and refold the sheets and get it ready for the next competitor. So that's gonna be the main competition time frame is from about like 11. Oh, I think people start arriving at 11:30, so I would say competition probably is at 12. To 12 to 3 is probably the main competition time frame. Um, but that's pretty much what we're going to be doing is unmaking beds and refolding sheets and blankets. No, I thought about that. Let me think a little bit more on that, and I may get your t-shirt sizes for on Tuesday. I may get your t-shirt sizes on Tuesday. Let me get a quote and see how much those would cost. But if not, then you can wear a blue shirt or St. Philip's College. Shorts are appropriate because we're going to be moving around. Tennis shoes. You don't have to dress professionally. This year the theme is sports. So if you want to wear your favorite jersey or represent your favorite sports team, you can do that as well. You can dress with the theme. Um, so that's September the 11th. Okay. And that'll actually be our class that day. We'll just meet there. We won't even come here. I'll give you the address. Like I said, it's over by the zoo. But I'll give you the address. If you have transportation concerns, please let me know in advance. Okay. And then if you have to come back because you have a class after this, that's totally fine. I get it. But if you can stay, that would be great. Very helpful. and then let's see. So that's September the 11th. And then October 2nd, I'm getting with Sala to see how many volunteers they need for the Hidden Gems, Culinary Hidden Gems. I talked to y'all about that, right? Okay, cool. That's a 21 and up only. Okay. And then I just found out that you cannot enjoy any alcohol. Okay. I found this out yesterday when I brought this up. No alcohol at all while you are representing St. Philip's College as a student. So, yeah. So maybe we'll figure out if you volunteer the first half, take your chef coat off, change clothes, and then you're no longer representing St. Philip's College. Maybe we'll think about that. Okay. Not that I'm encouraging you to drink alcohol, but not that I'm encouraging you to drink. If you don't want to drink, you don't have to. But when you're on a field trip like this and representing St. Philip's College, you want to be aware of that. The other thing, so that's October 2nd. The end of October is the Street Taco Cook-Off. Okay. I will be posting that probably on Wednesday next week. I don't have a date from them yet, but I will email them and ask them for a date. They only have room for 4 teams of 3 students. There's only 12 spots available. So what I'm going to do is when you register, you have to register your whole team all at once. So I'm telling you now that if you want to get with 2 other students and form your team, as soon as the registration opens, you'll be ready to go to sign up your entire team. Okay. Only registrations that have all 3 names and 3 emails will be considered. The first 4 registrations that are complete. Okay. After that, I'll do a wait list. So if a team has to drop out, then I can substitute. I'll already have somebody substituted, ready to substitute. Okay. So I will post that. And as my other class has asked, I will post an announcement of when I am posting the sign up. So that way you know when to be online. It's like Ticketmaster, trying to buy your tickets to your concert. Yes. Yes, if you stay, I am providing lunch. I usually go get pizza. And then I'll have water and soda throughout the day for any students that are there. Yeah. So I provide pizza for you guys. Um, yeah. Okay. So October the 2nd is Hidden Gems. So I will post information about that as soon as I know the date for that. And I think that is all the events that I have. So questions, comments? Yes, sir.
For the next week, do we want the chapter 1?
Yes, please watch chapter 1 videos in preparation for discussion next week. Good question. So typically, if you want to kind of see what you should be working on, go ahead and look at the week. So in week 1, you see how the chapter 1 videos are in week 1. So you're going to want to review this information. And then week 2, we'll come over and we'll talk about chapter 1. And then you'll watch chapter 2 lessons and we'll talk about them in week 3. Okay, and so forth. I will get that posted, your updated calendar. I'll get that posted here in the important links module, so that way it stays up front and center. All right. Thank you all so much. I will get this video recorded.